roll out.
Yeah.
You know what happened? 4th and 1. Surveys, good protection, slides, fires, broken up in the end zone. Gilmore on Sutton. So the defensive player of the year a couple of years.
This is interesting to see a daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling. Yeah. Football Friday. Baseball playoffs start today. We'll talk about that. But I feel as if I must begin the program with an apology. I apologize to baseball fans. There's no chance that a single playoff game this fall can be as boring, as suicidally boring as that football game was last night. If the two teams had combined offensive coaches and personnel, it may have been worse. If they had to play another team, it may have been worse. Are the defenses good? No. Nope. No, they suck. They're not good. They have good players. Bradley Chubb is a good player. DJ Jones, DeForest Buckner, Stephon Gilmore. They're good players. The quarterbacks are washed-up jokes. The Broncos attempt a 4th and 1 from the Colts' 4-yard line in overtime. The score is 12-9 in overtime. So the Broncos must kick a field goal to continue playing the game, or they must attempt to win the game by scoring either a touchdown, or I guess they could have gotten a first down and then we could have just kept doing this, which was great. They called a slant out rub play, which is fascinating to me. Many people on Twitter will have pointed out to you that the play that they called looks very, like, I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. So right here at the top of your screen, see, that's right where my mouse is. If you turn your phone sideways, if you need to, this is a mouse. That's KJ Hamler, former first-round pick from the first round? Second round? Who cares? He was the guy that ran 40 yards in 3.9 seconds for Penn State on a kick return. There he is. That's a rub right out here, and then he's coming underneath on the slant. Look how open he is, because this guy goes with this guy. He rubs him, and they go together. And that where he catches the ball, forget if he goes into the end zone, which, again, he ran not a 3.940. He ran 40 yards in 3.9 seconds on a kick return. So literally no human being who has ever played in the NFL can catch this guy. One or two human beings who have played in the NFL can run as fast as this guy, but they can't catch him. To say nothing of the fact that if he just catches it and falls down, it's a first down. Russ doesn't go over there. Why? Does he not trust KJ Hamler? Definitely, possibly. Oh, I'll tell you. Because this close to the goal line, this play looks really, really fucking familiar. Anybody? Bueller? Russ? Bueller? Yes. It is the same play that he threw the interception in the Super Bowl, which is utterly hilarious, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the post-game analysts who really, really, really hates Russell Wilson and who is incredibly intelligent and has an enormous pillar on which to cast aspersions on his colleagues in the NFL, because he is one of, if not the greatest player at his position in history. That would be Richard Sherman, a former teammate of Russell Wilson's, who famously had that look on his face when Russell Wilson threw the pick in the Super Bowl. In the postgame, I looked for this clip, and I just don't have time. In the postgame, Richard Sherman was like, just run it in. Just run it in. Just run it in. Hey, Rich, what play are you talking about? Oh, this one tonight? Yeah. Russell Wilson, again, remember, like one of the fastest, best scrambling quarterbacks in NFL history. Yeah. Not good, Bob. Not good. If you scroll down, look at it. Look at the picture. Look at this picture. There he is. Do you see a white jersey around him? No. The Broncos suck, and they were better with Case Keenum, Drew Lock, and Teddy Bridgewater. It's not really arguable. Geno Smith accounted for 6 touchdowns on Saturday. I know that the Detroit Lions defense is one of the worst in NFL history, but Geno Smith he plays really simple football, and he always has. He's black, so people think that he's a scrambler. He's not. He is a pocket passer. He can move around a little bit, but it's not the same thing as like Russell Wilson. Even Aaron Rodgers is a significantly better scrambler. I would say Case Keenum was a better scrambler. He's not a scrambler. I would say that Geno Smith is like a slightly more athletic Nick Foles. He stands in there. He throws to the guy that's open. He's actually got a better arm than Nick, I think. Maybe he was a second-round pick or a third-round pick, but people, because he's black, it's one of those cliches. It's incredibly racist. It's sort of like, oh, he's sneaky athletic. That's what they would say for white guys. Like, okay. Well, he's not a scrambler. He just throws to the guy that's open. Russ doesn't really do that. And the fact that the Seahawks have the same record as the Broncos, a head-to-head win, and that Geno is like having an historic year at the quarterback position in terms of efficiency and success. Statistically, right now, Geno Smith is the best quarterback in the NFL. It's not really arguable. Yeah, Russ, buddy boy, not great. The Colts win a game when it was looking like, man, if you lose this game, you're fucking fired. I think that it's entirely Jim Irsay should fire those guys after a win. I mean, I guess they could win the division, but Jesus, Matt Ryan, when it happens fast, huh? Just FYI, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to some Belarusian protesters and people who raised awareness, and the word Armageddon is trending. Could really use a Russian official to do the right thing today and murder Vladimir Putin. Am I calling for the murder of a dictator? I am. That would be great so that we can stop fucking dealing with this. If Bill Gates can have Jeffrey Epstein... Anyway, it's not the time for that. I just see that Armageddon's trending and I don't want to deal with that. Let's get into some more stuff, eh? So Tom Brady had a quote yesterday before the game from his media availability in practice, and it kind of sums up things incredibly perfectly. Hey, Tom, what are your thoughts on all of the parity? Because right now the Colts are 2-2-1, and the Broncos are, I actually don't know or care. They have 2 wins and 3 losses, I guess. I don't know. They suck. So they have 4 wins between them. Hey, Brady, what are your thoughts on the situation in the NFL right now? Is there just so much more parity than you've ever seen?
Tom, in all your years, there's even more parity now. There's a lot of teams that are 2-2.
I think there's a lot of bad football from what I watch. You know, I watch a lot of bad football, a lot of poor quality of football. That's what I see.
Shakespearean tragedy aside, he is correct. It's just a nightmare. The fact that the Detroit Lions in this era of 2 high safeties have the best offense through 4 games in NFL history, and over the last 7 games have the best offense in NFL history. In one of those games, Tim Boyle was the quarterback. But they have the 8th worst defense in NFL history. What is happening in America? Let's get in to Football Friday. Actually, just kidding. Let's get into the baseball playoffs start today. So for those of you that have the ability to stream at work or don't have a job or whatever, playoff baseball, the Fall Classic, which is a stupid name for your Apex event. How do they fuck everything up? It's not cool. Okay. The Fall Classic begins today. First game of the day is one that nobody will be sad missing. That is Tampa and Cleveland. Tampa is favored by 1.5 runs. The Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals are playing today. The Cardinals are going to win that, man. Phillies, they had a good summer. Phillies are relevant. Doesn't look like a great situation for them, though. The Mariners, they play this afternoon at 4 p.m. and then tonight 8:07 Mets and Padres. Mets, I think the Mets are going to win the World Series, and I would bet on it if gambling were legal in my state. It just feels like vibes, and I can just see them being there. But the odds-on favorites are the Dodgers and the Astros, and then you kind of step down a bit, and you got the Braves and the Yankees, and then a big step down, and the Mets. And so those are the top 5 teams, right? Dodgers, Astros, Braves, Yankees, Mets. After that, everybody would be considered enormous underdogs. Jays, Rays, Cardinals, Phillies, the Guardians, the Mariners, and the Padres. I think that, man, I would bet on the Phillies and the Mets. They've got pitching, they've got hitting, and those are 2 teams that could get hot and have gotten hot at points throughout the season where you're like, nobody can beat these guys. The Cardinals are not going to win the World Series. I don't think, anyway. And I don't really have a preview for you other than like some narrative stuff, which would be, look how good Justin Verlander is for his old age. Aaron Judge is an MVP. That's a narrative. You also have the narrative. Oh, yeah, the Phillies fired their manager like a month into the season, so this interim manager got the team to the playoffs. That's a good narrative. You've got the Padres. How good would they be if Fernando Tatis Jr. was here? But he's not because he cheated, steroids. That's a good narrative. The Mariners, first time in the playoffs for a while. Their first game will be tomorrow, I think, during the day. Oh, wait, I had something I wanted to do. Just wait, hold on real quick. Yeah, listen, baseball team. Box of Nails, their themes, man. It's because it seems like they have like an electric bass or guitar going on in there in the background for like a rhythm section. And it just does it. It doesn't for me. They have the best theme song now. Amazon Prime's theme song is garbage. They got to fix that shit. If you're going to contribute, if you're going to be in the National Football League, man, this is not preseason football. It's not baseball. No disrespect. Remember when KJ Hamler could have walked in the end zone? Look at this clip. Look at him slamming his helmet on the ground. Just two-hand slam. Like, Russ, you suck. Fuck Russ. I don't know what he's saying. He probably wasn't saying that, but he probably kind of was. I don't know, man. So the baseball playoffs start today. Al Michaels incredibly bored last night, which is great. You always love when Thursday Night Football has that. Football Friday, let's start in college football. The game of the weekend. So do I have to give myself a game of the weekend? Let's take a little looky-loo. Hold, please. Yeah, look at that. We can bring the schedule for y'all. Why is it so small? I don't like that. Bam. Okay. Game of the weekend. Because you got Tennessee at LSU. LSU is ranked technically. That game kicks off at noon, which would make it a great candidate for game of the weekend, so it gets over quickly. The other ranked blood we have Utah at UCLA. Incredibly important game. I can't think of a more boring game. Remember earlier this year when UCLA had like 4,000 fans in a 100,000 person stadium at the Rose Bowl? That was gross. Oh my God, is this week in college football not great? It really isn't. BYU at Notre Dame this weekend? Oh wait, is that this weekend? And BYU's the ranked one? Notre Dame's going to cruise in that game. What are the odds for that game? I haven't even checked in college odds. I don't bet college football. That might be the game of the weekend just because you got the Catholics and the Mormons in Vegas, where one thinks immediately, when you think of Catholic and Mormon, you think Vegas. Definitely. Notre Dame rigged up the opportunity to go to that stadium because that stadium would never invite BYU because BYU and Mormons are notably sober and alcohol sales are incredibly lucrative. Alcohol is marked up to the point where like a lot of money is made on that kind of stuff. So, scrolling. Oh my God, my coffee is so good this morning. Where is Notre Dame? Did they take it off? No. Notre Dame. Bruh? Oh my God, it's not on here. Why? Something happened? Did they trade for a quarterback and I don't know? Oh, there it is. Okay. Notre Dame favored by 3.5. Oh, my God, hammer that. Notre Dame's going to win by like 9. BYU, it's very simple. It's very simple. When they get into these games with teams that are fast, like when BYU can get out BYU'd. They win games when they're playing teams that are like Wisconsin that can't out BYU them, but Notre Dame has elite talent on defense. They're not going to score. BYU is not going to score. Notre Dame is going to win this game 28-17. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Other games coming up over the weekend. Indiana, their sadness. They're playing Michigan. That's one to watch. Indiana will keep that close. This seems like the game that you can chalk up to Indiana over the last 15 years. We're like, oh, damn, what if we just like kicked that field goal and it was good and we could have won that game. Game of the weekend, TCU and Kansas. College game day is in Lawrence, Kansas. Shouts to Kansas. It's adorable that they're good at football. I absolutely love that story. I think TCU is going to destroy them. TCU is actually going to the playoff, I think. Arkansas at Mississippi State. Arkansas's had a tough couple of weeks. Got obliterated by Alabama after getting to within one score. Remember that backup quarterback ran for like 70 yards to the 5-yard line, and then Alabama opened it up after Arkansas brought it to within like a couple points. They were rolling. They're at Mississippi State. I think Arkansas is going to destroy Mississippi State. I would hammer that. I don't know what the line is. I imagine Arkansas is favored, even though Mississippi State is ranked, which again, if you listen to this podcast, you know that rankings are stupid. Mississippi State is favored by 9.5. Get the fuck out of here. That is, oh my God. Yeah, Arkansas, hammer that. Jesus. What? Makes no sense to me. Other stuff, Missouri's at Florida. Neither of those teams are ranked. Obviously, the Red River rivalry is happening with neither of those teams ranked. Wow. That's embarrassing. Auburn at Georgia. This might be the game that gets Harsin fired because Georgia's going to win by 1,000, even though they've been keeping it close. Kind of a weird week in college football. You got a lot of good matchups, but from a ranked standpoint, there's no ranked on ranked blood, which does matter if you care about the playoff and whatnot. But Texas and Oklahoma is happening. Arkansas and Mississippi State is happening. But the game of the weekend, all of the good games are at noon, which I'm very thankful for. Having to care at night is super duper annoying. I absolutely hate it. Utah, UCLA, big game. Notre Dame, BYU will be funny. Let's move on to NFL football. It's Football Friday. I spent too much time on all this other stuff. I couldn't even get to stories. Let me see. Do we have any stories that I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the Broncos fans. Yeah, let's just put this on your phone. One more time to shit on the Broncos. The fans. Did you see the fans leaving?
Anyway.
Yeah, they left when the game went to overtime. That's when they left. Not like when they knew their team was getting their ass kicked. Look at how many of them are leaving as the game is going to overtime and have already left.
They've had enough.
It's 9-9.
It was a disaster of a game. Okay, NFL football this weekend. I've got some bets for you. I've got some thoughts. The first thing to note is that we've got another London game, the Giants and the Packers, two apex franchises, and I think that the Packers are going to destroy the Giants, but it's possible that they won't. The Packers defense, we know that they're good, but they just aren't good, and we don't know why. But the Packers are favored by 8. That's not enough. I love favorites this week. I only love 1 or 2 underdogs. I love favorites. If you're going to bet, I like the Packers to score to cover 8. I usually require the hook, but I don't think that's a problem here. The Vikings are favored by 7.5. They're playing the Bears. There's no way in hell that's enough. They're going to dominate the Bears. The Jets are 3-point underdogs at home against the Dolphins. I like the Jets there, and I like the Falcons as 10-point underdogs at the Bucs. The Bucs have been playing garbage football. The Falcons are not good, but their offense is interesting. The over-under here is 46.5. I love the under on that. And then the other underdog that I have, the Cowboys are, when Cooper Rush is playing, the Cowboys are 5.5-point underdogs on the road against the Rams. The Rams are garbage, guys, and the Cowboys' defense is a nightmare for teams to play. So I don't even think the Cowboys are going to cover 5.5 points. I think they're going to win the game. The greatest rivalry in NFL football, in my opinion, is happening this weekend, and that's the Ravens and the Bengals. And, of course, NFL rivalries, a lot depends on who's there. And Cincinnati obliterated Baltimore twice last year, and Joe Burrow almost had the NFL record for single-game passing. And then he talked a bunch of shit, and he made fun of John Harbaugh for caring about, it was 40-something consecutive games with 100 rushing yards, and they ran it up on Denver just to get the rushing yards. And so that Joe Burrow and the Bengals were up 25 and still going deep, scoring touchdowns. And so he's like, yeah, I'm aware of them. I like that. The Ravens are favored by 3.5. I don't know. The Bengals just haven't gelled. I kind of like the Bengals as a team. The Eagles are playing the Cardinals. This is a weird game, man. Heading to the West Coast, Zach Ertz. This just seems like one of those games you're like, yeah, the NFL is fucking weird. The Eagles fans are now in the point where we need a loss. We need to check ourselves here. Chargers and Browns, we'll call that the Not Again Bowl. Not again. Titans and Commanders are the game that you'll forget about. The Patriots and the Lions are playing this week. It's a revenge game for the Lions because they hate Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. They're on the road. Billy Zappi will be the backup quarterback or the starting quarterback, depending on Mac Jones' situation. Remember, the Lions, historically good offense, historically bad defense, but they're in New England against Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia. Vibes for the Lions will be at an all-time low if they lose to the Patriots on the road, who are not that good. There's no Tom Brady. If they lose to the Patriots on the road, I think someone could get fired. I don't really know what the situation is there. You were talking about Falcons and Bucks, Jets and Dolphins. The Jets are good. I think that Zach Wilson, it's not a plug-and-play situation. He was a project to the level of Josh Allen, and he got hurt a little bit. This is around the time we saw Josh Allen start to take some steps forward. Zach Wilson looked really good. He's got the arm. He moves the ball around. I think Zach Wilson's the real deal. He just needed time. He should have had a redshirt year. He needed a redshirt year really bad. He played at BYU where he had 1,000 hours to throw the football to dudes who were older and taller. The Steelers are 14-point underdogs on the road to the Bills. I think the Bills are going to cover that. I wouldn't bet on it, but damn, rock bottom for the Steelers. And you got to do that. You got to reset. They're going to have a top 10 pick, and they're going to get Will Anderson, and we're all going to cry ourselves to sleep. Saints are 5-point favorites at home against the Seahawks as well. I love the London game. You wake up, you got football. That game ends, and you got more football. It's just a nice way to spend your morning. Just football. Just more football. More football and more football. So for my bets, one of my best bets of the weekend, my best bets are Vikings cover over the Bears, Falcons cover against Tampa, and the Cowboys win outright on the road against Los Angeles. Notre Dame is going to win by more than 3, and the easiest bet of the weekend, Arkansas, 9-point underdogs against Mississippi State. Get the fuck out of here. Not possible. Don't leave the game early when it goes to overtime. And by the way, it wasn't like a school night. It was 9:30 in Denver. It wasn't 11:30. Oh, man. Back and better than ever on Monday.